What is going on, everybody? In today's quick video, I want to show you exactly how you can build a YouTube content agent to basically create your entire framework for YouTube videos. We know how hard long form content production is, but we also know how important it is because it's one of the best ways to generate trust in a trust recession that we're facing right now. So this is going to be a live build. I'm going to show you exactly how I'm building this for my own workflow, and you can just copy and paste it. So put this in 2x speed and let's jump right into it. Cool. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be in GitHub. This is essentially the knowledge base for everything. This is what I'm going to use to make sure this executes. If you've watched any other videos on my channel, you know this is a system that I've already been producing. I made a short form content agent most recently, and now I'm going to be making a long form content agent. So what we're going to do is make a new repository. This is specifically for one of my offers, so I'm just going to label it BCGS YouTube agent. So it's a YouTube agent. We're going to get it going here. We're going to make this a private repository. You don't want anyone to see this, and then click create repository. Cool. So now we have our repository put together here. What I'm going to do, since I already have a bunch of knowledge base documents in the short form content system, is I'm going to grab this knowledge here and pretty much just copy and paste this and create these exact same documents in that new agent, because these are very important. So I have my ICP files in here, my ICP brand identity, very important to have in here. So we have our brand identity. So I'm going to get into, first thing I got to do is actually create the code. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to have Claude Code just go in and generate the frameworks for this new repository we've just made. So we're going to just give it the copy paste structure that we currently have. So what I'm going to do to make this super simple is I'm going to go into Claude, I'm going to start a new chat, and I'm going to connect my repository from GitHub that I'm currently using for short form. This is a very helpful workflow if you're somebody that is trying to get into long form content. Obviously, long form content is super important, and this makes it really easy for you to just produce content at a higher level more efficiently. That's essentially what we're going to be creating today. So we're going to make it super simple here, and specifically for YouTube, I like that. So now we'll just go back into Claude Code. We'll have it just create this folder structure for us real quick. So now it'll generate it. So now we're in Claude Code. It's going to be able to generate all the file and folder structure for us. I don't really know how to do that in GitHub alone, to be honest with you. So we're just going to have it go through that and get that done for us. I just want to take you along with the build. I knew I would say, hey, I want to do a YouTube agent. You know, I want to make the YouTube workflow. You guys knew that was coming, so thought I might as well make it happen. Right now it's going to be creating the directories for us, making everything that we need to. Awesome. And then the next step is going to basically be copying all of our existing knowledge files. I have my exact step-by-step here. And then what I'm going to do, which is very interesting and intriguing, is I'm going to basically kind of scrape different YouTube videos that have performed well, different styles, like tutorial styles, just like finding different styles of YouTube videos. I already have an agent that's going to be able to kind of synthesize all that information for me. And it's basically going to allow me to kind of get real world data so that I can build a good YouTube workflow framework. Obviously for this channel you're watching it on, it's all live builds. So like the framework is really nothing that special. It's just me kind of just going through whatever I'm doing on a daily basis, just kind of proving I don't even know. I just want to help people out. If they want to watch this video and get more insight on what I'm doing and how I'm using AI to run companies and how I'm using AI to optimize my output, this is exactly what you can see. So we're getting into it now. It looks like Claude's going to be committing this, which is awesome. Once it commits that, we're going to be able to just go copy all those files over, and then we'll be able to get into developing the YouTube framework. So I'm going to do that right in Claude, not Claude Code. So it's running all these commands here. We're going to wait for it to update that, and then we'll be able to go into our GitHub, copy all those files over, make it simple, because I want to just start it out with context. Normally what I would do here is build out context first, but that's not the plan here. The plan here is to build the framework because we already have the context. Awesome. So it says that it created the new folder structure. Okay, so we're going to do a little pull request, and we're going to confirm and merge our pull request. So this is just different branches of the code that it was communicating on. You always want to make sure these are merged to the main branch. That way everything's showing up where you want it to. Cool. So I'll probably, all right. Hold up. Why don't we have any folders in here? Okay. So it didn't do any folders. Where are the folders? Come on, Claude. What are we doing here? I don't know how to create a folder in this in this either. So this is kind of interesting. I didn't expect to be in this situation where it wouldn't be able to do it. I'm going to say, please actually create the folders in the knowledge, in the repo. I don't know why. I don't know why it didn't create the folders. I literally told it to create the folders. Maybe that prompt was a little misunderstood, potentially. Yeah, so it just wrote the README files. It just never added the folders in there. So we're going to have it add those in now. So we should be solid on that side of things after it adds those in. Dope. And then for your reference here too, this is basically to help with just like pre-production of a YouTube video. So essentially to like figure out the idea, figure out exactly how we want to deliver it. What style does it pertain to, right? You can add idea generation into here, but for me, YouTube video ideas are not really that hard to generate. It's really just about the framework and like the overall delivery of the YouTube video. So that is what I'm essentially optimizing for in this video, is like I want to be able to create these at a high level. Amazing. So I believe this is the new branch we got here. Awesome. Cool. And then we can add our files in there. So we got our branch in there. What I probably want to do is commit this to the main branch. That way everything's just in a good place. So we're going to merge this, merge it, and then everything will be in the main branch. We'll go into code. Boom. Now we have everything in our main branch here. Awesome. So let's just go right into the knowledge and start adding some files. So what I'm going to do is add that file we just added, the ICP brand identity that we didn't get in the right spot. Now I'll just delete the other file eventually. So we'll just copy this here. This is where you kind of get into the repetitive process, but this is where it gets busy. This is where a lot of the work kind of comes into play when you aren't going through this process of actually having these files beforehand. But thankfully for me, I've been messing around with this for a minute. So this helps a lot with everything that I'm trying to do in this video. So it's going to speed up the process. If you want insight into how to create these files, just go to one of my recent videos on my channel. I'll link it in the description so you know exactly what I'm kind of building here. I'm not going to comment on it too much. This is really just knowledge so that the AI can read this every time it's generating an output or every time it's about to script out a YouTube video. So it knows my ICP, it knows my market. It basically knows everything it needs to know about our current situation. That way our YouTube output is just that much more clear, right? Because if you were to do this with just a normal ChatGPT, you would have a tough time. You'd be going back and forth trying to get a consistent script, and it just wouldn't work in most cases. So that's why we're going through with this process here, to make it really simple so that we don't have to worry about inconsistency in our content, which is very important. Like, we want to be consistent. So we're going to keep. And the one thing that I've noticed here too is that this just makes it so much easier for you to consistently create content at a high scale. It's almost like it's just a better way for me personally to create content at a high level, because it's almost like it's easier to create content now, right? Like, it's easier. So this is a really good way to kind of just make content easy, frictionless, so that you can do it at a high level and do it consistently. And then obviously this thing's going to be able to improve over time as you create more content, as it stores outputs. You can make it better, right? It's going to learn from every video you make. Cool. And then I'm not going to be able to give it the script writing best practices one. Obviously you can't see that on the screen here, but I have another script best practices file for short form content specifically, but we're going to be doing this for long form. So that's a completely different scripting game there. So we're going to get into this now. This is our last file. Commit it. Cool. So we have that in the knowledge. I'm going to delete this file as of right now. We'll just get rid of it. Yep, we will delete. Cool. Awesome. So there we go. Now we have our frameworks. This is where we're going to be giving out the YouTube scripting framework. So it's essentially just one framework, because this is specifically for YouTube. But if we want to expand on it and have the AI actually do descriptions, post-production, all that fun jazz, you can actually expand on it in there. And then all the outputs are going to be saved into this folder as well, so it can learn over time and get better. And then also you can reference them yourself. Cool. So that step is done. So now we're going to get into developing the YouTube framework with Claude. Okay, so basically what I want to do here is go into my recent branch. I have the short form content generation system. This is where I built the short form content agent. This is where I'm basically building a lot of my things. This is kind of the execution layer, right? So Claude is essentially the system that is able to kind of develop the vision, create the files, and basically it's the doer, right? It's the doer for me, so that I can kind of yap into it, give it the insight it needs, give it the data it needs so it can create the files and do everything effectively. So I definitely recommend Claude for this circumstance. You could potentially use Gemini if you wanted, but I would not use ChatGPT for the life of me. I would not. Cool. So I'm going to give it a little yap here and let it know what's going on. All right, Claude. So now we're going to get into the long form agent. So the YouTube agent for blue collar growth systems. I already gave it all the knowledge base information we already have from the short form scripting framework. But now I want to create the long form YouTube framework and how we're going to basically be structuring them. So my idea for YouTube is we're going to have a couple different types of content, right? So YouTube is going to be a couple different things. One for YouTube is going to be actually showcasing and demonstrating a system, right? So this is where we kind of go into a pain point that most contractors have and essentially show them a system that can solve that problem. Okay, so that's kind of the first one. The second one is education. Okay, so this is where we kind of go into, it's almost like it's a belief break content, but also a pain mirror at the same time, is where you kind of like take a belief that they currently have and show them why it's wrong. So that's a very important piece of YouTube video, right? And my idea here is all these videos are going to be executed in Miro board, right? So it's kind of already following the same training we already have. And for this system specifically, we're going to probably use the same exact kind of stick figure system that we've been using before. And then also real world data as well in the imagery. So that's something to keep in mind. And then the third thing that we do is probably tutorial specific stuff. So tutorial, okay? Now tutorial is kind of just showcasing to them how they can do something, right? How they can do something better, or how they can do something that they've been wanting to do. So those are kind of the three different frameworks we're going to go for with the YouTube videos. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to essentially give you, and what I want to do is I want these to be scripted, but I may not follow the script entirely, if that makes sense. So they're going to be scripted, but they may not be fully scripted. But I want the AI agent to actually script out the entire video, okay? And it needs to split them up image by image, just like how we were doing it for the short form agent. And the images don't have to be as short, like it's probably like 30 seconds per image, a minute per image, depending on how deep we want to get into, okay? Most of our videos are probably going to be around the length of 15 to 20 minutes. And then if we're doing any live builds, live demonstrations, those are going to be closer to an hour, okay? And then I'm going to be doing deep market research on different YouTube videos, different scripts, how they're creating their YouTube videos. And then I'm going to be able to give you a lot of context so you can help me generate this framework. And if we want to do 2 frameworks. So let me know if you understand exactly what I'm trying to create. And let's start moving into the build process. So basically just telling it exactly what I'm wanting to do, kind of giving it my initial thought on what's good. Obviously you want to have a brain here when you talk to AI. You don't want to just be blindly talking to it and say, hey, what do I do? What do I do? Right? Like we don't want to ask AI for advice. We want to ask AI to execute for us, right? So that's a big key misconception I see a lot of people have with AI. They just like to ask it what they should do. And in some circumstances, yeah, that's totally cool. But most circumstances, that's not the play, right? You want to have your brain on when you're communicating with it, so that way you get great outputs. And realistically, it's not going to be able to build a vision, right? It's not going to be able to build a product for you as good as you would think it to be, as good as you would want it to be, because it's just not able to understand fully what you're trying to create. So it's going to be very surface level. But if you can actually communicate with it deeper, it's going to give you a great breakdown. Okay, so that's something to definitely keep in mind here. Cool. So what I want to do here, I would say we'll probably do 3 different types of frameworks to keep it simple. And then for the script detail level, I'm very, 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 very questioned on what it should be. I think we should do word for word scripting. I'm really leaning towards talking points, but I feel like word for word scripting kind of keeps me aligned with everything. Or we could do bullet points that are just essentially talking points. I like that. Bullet points that are talking points that kind of just give key phrases that need to be there. So it's like you got the intro phase, and then you got the meat of that section, and then you have like the transition, right? And the transition can be the same, and then the intro can be the same, right? So like for every section, for every different visual, right, of the YouTube video, we need to have an intro to that section, the meat of it, right, with a couple talking points, probably 4 or 5, right, with a key information. And then you have the transition to the next section, okay? So that's how we want to do it. I'm thinking talking points with bullet points is perfect. And then for the video structure, I'm going to give you that. Okay, I'm going to give you the video structure, how we want to do it, but I'm thinking we can get deeper into that process as well. And then I'll give you the YouTube research as well here shortly. Okay, and then live demos are just not scripted really at all. It's just kind of showcasing the process. Okay, all right, there we go. So we have just prompted it. So now what I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, is I'm going to go into YouTube and I'm going to just start copying transcripts to different videos. And I have a Google Gem that is a YouTube script pattern analysis AI. So it's essentially able to reverse engineer successful YouTube transcripts and videos, I guess you could say, from transcripts, extracting pacing, hooks, structural frameworks so that we can kind of replicate them. So this is essentially kind of my market research agent. I'm using Gemini specifically because it has a million tokens of context. So I can feed it a whole fucking 6-hour long, 12-hour long video and to be able to generate it, but we're not going to be doing that. But that's the primary reason I'm doing this here. So there's no real key competitor that I'm looking at here, okay? So basically what I'm looking at, I'm going to get on my normal channel here so we can get that dialed in. And I'm going to look at a couple people that I've subscribed to and try to find essentially, like, we'll find some Hormozi videos because Hormozi videos are good. I like these. So he does a lot of like very top of funnel content, which I like. I really do. Posting very long content. So I'm going to go into right now, copying this transcript, and we're just going to throw it in there. You're going to just throw it in there. Boom. Copy the entire thing and then feed it into Gemini. And then, yeah, we'll give it the gusto. So I'm going to give it a quick prompt here. I'm going to say, please deeply analyze the following YouTube videos, understanding their style and everything in your training you need to. Cool. This is the first transcript. And then we're going to grab another one. I'm just going to grab another one from Hormozi. I think his content is really structured. And it's not even that structured. So that's why I like Hormozi. Like, you can tell it's not scripted. You can tell it's like relatively straightforward. So I'm going to keep that in mind. I really wish I could see my subscriptions in a better way because I know there's some guys that I want to follow that I think are good. Okay, so this guy teaches AI business. We'll grab it here, and it's 11 minutes, so it's a lot shorter. I'm normally the type of guy that builds, like, all my videos on this channel, as you can see, are like, you know, at least an hour long or close. It's just because I'm doing live builds, so you get to see everything kind of in the flesh, how I think, how I go through things. I think it's helpful for a lot of people, but let me know if it's not. I'll start doing structured stuff like this. I just like kind of doing the raw, real stuff, I guess I'll snag a couple Liam Otley videos. I do like Liam Otley. I think his videos are pretty structured as well. So let's see what one would be the most relevant to us. Let's see. Okay, I like this. So like you could pretty much just niche down to like, what's cool about this is this guy's a very broad niche, but you could basically go through and kind of copy this guy's videos and make it specifically for contractors, which is really very interesting. And that's a concept that I'm probably going to think about, and that's probably what we're going to be looking at in a lot of these videos that we're going to be creating for contractors specifically, is just kind of copying some structure from bigger guys that are not as niche down, and then we just niche down with the same messaging, but relevant to that niche. So I think that's just a great way to make things happen, right? This guy's content's good. He hasn't popped off in a while, though, to be honest. His videos haven't really popped off. He's been struggling on the YouTube side. But I think his content's really good. I mean, I don't know if he's scripting it. I guess we'll see. Like I said, I'm giving Gemini literally all this context. We're going to ship it. And then we're going to go back into Claude. Yep. All right. And then I was also thinking too, for like the ideation workflow, I might realistically just give Claude a transcript to a video that's more broad and then say, hey, how can we relate this to my niche? And then basically make a video exactly almost the same as that video, but relative to our niche with newer relevant points to our niche specifically. I think this is a great way to know what's working with YouTube content, is just kind of take someone's video that they already have, be like, okay, this could be helpful for contractors. Cool. And they'll drop it in there and then boom, there you go. Like, you have it. So I think that's a great way to kind of structure some YouTube videos. So we're going to keep that in mind for sure and start putting that together on the forefront here. So I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great way to make this work and make this happen. And yeah, we're going to go on from there. So yeah, let me know what you think about that and we can move forward. Cool. And then we're going to check on Gemini. I want to see how fast it gave me an output. Hopefully not too fast. I mean, that's a lot of context to go through. Okay, it did. Cool. Wow, it generated a fucking flowchart. Okay. Please create a consistent script framework that is universal. So now we're going to have it create the framework, and then I'm going to start just feeding this to Claude. And I'm going to also talk about, okay, and also we don't need the different frameworks for video. We are going to make framework that's relevant for any video type. Okay, so now we have the script template. So we're going to give this to Claude. Also, here is some research and data from YouTube videos. Cool. So we're going to start pasting these in. I'm going to also paste the last output it gave. High authority educational protocol. See, that's what I like. Just kind of frame yourself as a big dog authority here. All right, so now it should have enough data. We can always get more as well. Talk to Gemini, get some more. But we're going to have Claude kind of go into it here and understand. Yep, so it's understanding all the documents here now. I love looking at like the thinking, right? Like the thought process behind the AI. I think that shit's so cool. Okay, cool. Yes, please generate. Cool, so now it's going to generate the documents and then we should be relatively done. I like this idea of just kind of like taking what big dogs have already done in the niche and then just creating them for ourselves. So now it's going to go through and generate the documents. That's how easy it is. And then I can show you a live workflow of how it's going to actually come out and turn out. So basically my creation workflow is get the script generated, right? I have a short form ideation generator, which I recommend a lot of people build out. It's essentially a agent that goes into deep research. I'll show you here. I had a research for my niche and I was like, hey, what I want you to do is find me deep pain points that newer home service businesses are facing right now. Find 10 of them. Okay. And then it went in and then it did a research. It's like, okay, here's what I'm going to do to research this. And then it researched an entire report for me. And then it structured my ideas into kind of like script outlines. Obviously it went deep into deep research, but then we kind of have our script outlines. Like, and this is from Reddit. This is pulling from so many different sources. As you can see here, we got Reddit. We got a lot of Reddits, basically all Reddits. Okay. Which is good. Right. So yeah, big time there. Getting a lot of pain points, which is huge. And yeah, I mean, it's basically feeding my short form creation, which I didn't show you in that other video, but either way, very good to keep in mind. And then after that, what I do, obviously I go into my short form GitHub. Okay. And this is where it's saving all my outputs. I'll have it generate all those outputs at once. Okay. Like, as you can see here, I was like, hey, what I want you to do is I want you to please develop 10 short form scripts based on our script framework. So it went in and it read my short form script framework, all the code, and then it read script writing best practices, and then it figured out where we're putting the scripts, and then it read other scripts. Okay, so that's good. And then it goes into making a to-do list on how it can make every single script for me, all 10 of them. And then it goes one by one, generating all 10 of the scripts, and I'll show you what the scripts look like in here as well. So it generates all the scripts, and then it brings it out and says, okay, here's what the visuals kind of look like. Okay, and then I would go into my short form system. I would go into my outputs and then I would click scripts. And then in there, as you can see, I have my date. So 1/13 is what I did today. And then it has all my scripts in there, all laid out based on the different types of styles I do. So I have belief break. So kind of breaking a belief that they have. I have mechanisms. So different processes that they can use and mechanisms to make things better. And then pain mirror, which is essentially just like kind of mirroring their pain back to them, like showing the mirror, kind of saying something that not a lot of people have said that someone wants to hear from someone else. And then I'll go into this folder. I'll say, okay, cool. Here's the script, right? Awesome. That's a script. And then it creates visuals for each section of the script, each section. So then I would go into Nano Banana and I would generate all of these visuals. And then I'll show you what I do. This is the crazy part. I have a whole system in Miro that essentially allows me to create these at such a high scale, okay? Very high scale. Cool. So I'll show you in here. This is our content board, I guess you could say. For short form, I'm going to be doing long form in here as well. Let's see if it loads. There's not too much data in here right now, so I don't know why it's being slow. Cool. So as you can see here, I have my date. So 1/12/26, I have my date, and then I have my script right next to this. So I'll literally share my screen on the platform, and then I'll say, okay, cool, go through here, go through here, go through here, and then each of them has a script that I can read. So it's a very simple process, and then I label it green when I'm done, and then as you can see here, I have all my videos done. And then I just edit them in Riverside and make a repeatable template, and then boom. And then for the next day, I just have the date, and then I have the script. Simple as that. So this just literally makes short form content so easy for me personally, because I'm a yapper. I'm a long form guy, so like I really like doing this in a simple way. So yeah, that's what my content workflow looks like for short form. The same process is going to kind of be true for long form as well. So just to keep that in mind. So we're waiting for it to write all this out here. We're almost done. We're getting into the process here. So it's almost done writing it out. It's creating the video adaptation workflow now. So yeah, kind of going into how we want things drawn and stuff like that for the visuals. And then once we're done with this, we're just going to go into our folder and we're going to go into our frameworks and we're going to add these two files that it just created. And then from there, everything should be ready to rock, and this agent should be able to perform our long form YouTube tasks that we need to. So this is perfect. So let's go in here. Looks like it just finished. YouTube framework. Amazing. So we're going to copy this and we're just going to throw it right in here. I'm going to trust that it's already good. If we need to run it back, yeah, 791 lines of code. It considers it code. Cool. And then I'm going to go back and make sure I copy the right file name because this is super important. YouTube Video Framework MD. And I'm going to go and put that on here, and I'm going to click commit changes, boom. Now we have our YouTube Video Framework. Now I'm going to go back into this exact document here. I'm going to grab our adaptation workflow, okay? And then I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go back into GitHub. I'm going to add a new file, and I'm going to paste all that information in here. Then I'm going to go into naming it, which I just want to check. It already names it for me, so that makes it cool. I don't know what .md even means, but I know that that's how you want it to be structured so that the agent actually reads things. Then boom, we've committed. As you can see here, we've committed both of them. They're both in our files. So if we go back to our agent, we go into our frameworks. Okay, boom, there are our files that the AI can reference. Cool. So I'm going to go back into Claude here. We're going to make sure everything's looking good on this side of things. It seems to already kind of know where we're at because I've already communicated with it before. Okay. Yep. So find a YouTube video, crushing it in any niche, use YouTube video adaptation workflow to analyze, translate to contractor niche, use YouTube video framework to generate the full script. Perfect. Cool. All right, cool. So we'll do this. We'll create this real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it with Liam Motley. So we're going to use this one as an example. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, okay, we're going to copy this entire transcript here, right? Let's copy it. Cool. And then I'm going to go into our agent, right? I'm going to go into our agent here. I'm going to say, please follow your frameworks and help me create a YouTube video. And then the beautiful thing here is I'm literally just scratching the surface. I can have another framework in here specifically for titles, a specific framework for thumbnails, a specific framework for descriptions. So I can really just automate the whole post-production process as well. The only tedious thing is editing, but I've already kind of made it simple from an editing perspective for me. I'm in Riverside. It's a great AI editor tool, so it cuts all the things automatically for you. And then you can just add a scene pretty consistently. I'm not too worried about like flashy edits and crazy stuff like that. I don't have an editor, right? So like, I don't really care about that right now. Okay, cool. So we're going to get into this and we're going to see how it goes. So it's about to get into basically everything right here. I'm hoping that it has the branch. Yeah, so this is all in the main. Amazing, cool. So we're gonna see how fast it actually creates this. Sweet. So I'm just crossing off the list today. Got a lot of deep work done. It's already 9 o'clock. I don't know when you'll see this video, but I'm really enjoying creating these frameworks and hopefully they're helpful to you guys in some way. If you need help creating something like this in any way, these systems can be way more robust. This is very surface level kind of prompt stuff. It's just like I'm kind of giving it a framework to execute on and then essentially, building on that from there. But you can get into this thing actually doing autonomous workflows for you. It's a lot deeper. I haven't gone into it too much on my channel yet, but if you need help with something like that, if you want to start building your business or building your personal life on the forefront and the foundation of AI, this is the way to do it, 100%. So let's see how it works here. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pause Claude Code quick because I don't know if it's up to date on our current framework. Potentially, maybe it is. I'm not sure. It is a lot of context for it to go through. So I'm going to just pause it quick. And then I'm going to go here. I'm going to just refresh this page and say, okay, cool. And then if we go into the Claude setup project, 10 commits behind main. So we're going to create a pull request real quick. That way it's up to date on all of our data here. So I'm just going to show you what that looks like. Okay, that's been committed. Let's go back to our code here. All right, so Claude's up to date on this. Awesome. So that's what I'm going to do just to make sure we're up to date here. I'm going to go here, paste this transcript in here. I'm going to say, please read all repo files and understand the framework for creating a YouTube video and adapting a current one to niche. Please do that with the following video and create the script and entire process. So I'm being super specific with the prompt here because I want to make sure that it actually does what I want it to. So we're going to just let it rip. We're going to see if that was the issue. in this process here. So I'm going to share screen again. Yeah, so we'll see if that was the issue. We'll see how long this takes to generate. Normally it doesn't take too long, but obviously it's, okay, here we go. So it's reading all of our files. This is huge. So that's what I'm telling it. I'm like, okay, please read all these files so you know exactly what to do. So it just read every file, right? Sometimes in the README specific file, you're able to have it do that. So just did that here. It's reading all of them now. So now it's going to develop its action plan for how it wants to execute. And it does take a little bit of time because this is a lot of context. And obviously I'm giving it a 21-minute transcript. So this is a lot of information. So we're going to see, perfect, I've understood your entire framework to your contractor niche. Let me create the complete adapted script with visuals for your contractor audience. Perfect. So now it knows what it's going to do. Boom. So it has completed that process for us now. It has written the entire thing. It took it a little bit. Okay. So it's going in. It's got everything in there. Holy crap. How long is this? It wrote it. It's a long one. Okay. Love it. Love it, dude. Amazing. So it made the script. So we're going to go into GitHub now and we're going to check this out. Okay. So we're going to go into the new branch because it created a new branch. Just to keep in mind, every time you communicate with it, when you're having Claude update the database, it's going to make a new branch. So you're just going to have to commit and pull. So everything goes to the main way. So we're going to see our script. AI systems for contractor growth. Okay. And it gave me the title. Amazing, dude. It literally generated it perfectly for me. Oh my gosh. Done. So there it is. That is how you create an AI agent that can literally generate content for you, take someone else's framework for a video. It literally even took those systems and it generated them that he was going over in that video and it made them relevant to my niche. Exactly what I would put without any extra context. So that's huge. This is going to help YouTube workflows so much. And like I said, you can expand on this much, much deeper if you want to. So if you're looking to get in content creation, if you're looking to ramp up content for your business, your brand, and you want a system like this, watch some more videos on my channel. I have short form breakdowns. I have other breakdowns for funnels and monetization strategies as well tied into this. Or if you want my help directly to help you build something like this, DM me on Instagram down below and we can talk about how I can help you out. Until then, guys, I appreciate you watching and make sure to check out the next video and then like, comment, and subscribe if you found this valuable. We'll see you in the next one.